Good morning, everyone. It's March the 28th, 2018. Venus conjunct Uranus today in Pisces, aspecting the water in Cancer and the water in Scorpio. It's very significant because Uranus is the planet of outer transformation and Venus is our heart. She's exalted here, but still you're talking about massive transformation, and the heart's generally connected to home, the water. Home is where the heart is, right? And then it's also connected to the mystical, passionate water of Scorpio, which is still a great eagle. I'd love all of you to, when I say Scorpio, you see this great eagle with the serpent in its claws. We have Mars fixing to conjunct Saturn that's going to aspect what's going on over here with Uranus, Mercury, Venus, all in water. Venus will probably actually be moved on into Aries, but because Mercury's retrograde, he will still be here. Retrograde when this happens. Let's see exactly what day this is going to happen. You're looking at the 1st, the 2nd, the 1st and to the 2nd. April Fool's Day. You're going to, as Venus still in water, Venus is now in Aries. So she's no longer exalted, but you have Mercury debilitated in Pisces, retrograde in Pisces, and combustive the sun in Pisces on the 1st. And I'm already wreaking havoc. Videos are taking me a couple of days to get one done. I sat down, done one the other day, uploaded it, processed it, went to review it, no audio. I had turned the wrong button off on my computer. Instead of turning the computer noise off, I turned the microphone off. So I recorded a whole video with no audio. I still must redo that video. So those of you waiting on charts, you're just going to have to wait a little longer, but you can thank our friend here. But I'm not going to put out a half-assed chart. If it takes me 2 days to do it, that's just what it does. A couple of them I've had to start over for several reasons. It's very noisy here this week. We have spring break. Woohoo! Spring break in Las Vegas, and the temperatures are 85 degrees. All week long, it's just going to be in the 80s, climbing and climbing. So they've opened the pools. So during the day, we have got the pool on one side of me and the playground on the other side of me. So the noise level is off the charts. I have new neighbors upstairs. They threw my old neighbors out after the big to-do over the last week. So I had to put up with the going in and remodeling upstairs. Now we have new neighbors upstairs that have kids, and they like to run. I used to have a neighbor that had upstairs for me when I lived in the South that had a bunny rabbit and a dog. A bunny rabbit and a dog in an upstairs apartment. And I don't know how many of you know about rabbits, but when they're afraid, they stomp the ground. They do that with their hind legs, and it's to let the other rabbits know there's danger in the area. So all night long, this rabbit would run around the walls of this apartment going ba 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 ba. And she didn't understand. I had to explain to her. She had moved off the farm. She loved her animals, and I'm like, you just can't do this. It's not fair to the bunny or the dog. You're ignoring the dog. He can't attack the bunny when this dog wants to attack the bunny. It was just crazy for both of them having to be locked in that apartment up there. I hate having to have mine in an apartment. I'm currently almost in a position where I'm going to be able to move. I'm actually looking for a place now. Something away from the airport, away from the park, away from the pool, preferably with a yard or something for Kelly, so she can have more time outside. There are so many animals where I live. In Nevada, they protect the animals. They're real serious about it, so they won't let them put restrictions on dogs like Dobermans, pit bulls, and so a lot of the complexes around here allow pets. This one, and they're not allowed to restrict. So this place is full of pit bulls. Some people have 3 and 4 dogs in these small one-bedroom apartments with children. They're also not allowed to restrict how many people can live in a one-bedroom apartment. So some of these families have 4 and 5 kids in here, which is incredible. I think it's small for just me and my dog. I can't imagine some of these families trying to bunch up in these small rooms. Of course, I'm come from the South, and everything's big and wide open, and there's plenty of room. Not that families down there don't do it as well. We come from big families. I'm from a family of 5 children, 7 with adults. Both of my parents, my father came from a family of 10, and my mother came from a family of 13. She being the youngest, she was the 13th. And she is still hell on wheels. I always say my mother gives Satan nightmares. But that's a completely different subject. I'm digressing, which is definitely this Mercury retrograde, that digression. Losing your train of thought, why you came here, why I came here. I love turning it on and seeing Fomalhaut. When you turn it on in the morning this time of the year, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see Fomalhaut there on the screen, which just really inspires me for the whole day. It was really the Venus-Uranus conjunction. Let's put it back to now. If you want to put it back to now, you go to, it's supposed to be an hourglass, but it looks more like a champagne glass. Uranus conjunct Venus. Uranus being exalted, Venus being, and Uranus being in Pisces. It has been here for a long time. It came through Pisces, went into Aries, and then retrograded back into Pisces. So it's finishing up its work now, and it is doing it with heart. You can be grateful about this Venus being exalted and conjunct here. This is really going to help. It's going to help. You're going to be able to deal with it a little bit better. Communications broke down, commerce broke down, all these documents, contracts and stuff that are being signed by Congress and the President right now, all of those are in jeopardy. You can't expect the outcome to be what was intended. Also, about that, I think the powers that be are quite aware. One thing I don't understand about what all's going on in the media right now is they want to bitch the president out for signing this budget bill that he signed. But isn't it our congressmen that make that bill? He only signs it. It's up to our congressmen. And they're our representatives, allegedly. I'm not sure that's actually true. I'm not sure who they think they represent. But all of that's going to change. We have, and to me, they signed it during this Mercury retrograde so that it would fail. They need all of this to fail. It has to come down before 2020. 2020 establishes the next 20 years, and they want to have a new form of government on top of us. And it's a battle, they think, between the Democrats and the Republicans, between the Republic and the democracy. This country was actually founded as a republic, not a democracy. That is a faux pas. That was done to us by our education system, making us think in a different way. you think you live in a democracy. And that's why they're able to shred the Constitution. Of course, in my opinion, it all must come down, North and South America. For the next age to be established, there can be no walls or no borders. It is one cohesive sign. I do believe, like introducing Baphomet to us was part of that. They put a big statue up of Baphomet in Boston. People are going to see it. They call it Satan worship, all of this, and they don't have a clue. Satanists are going there thinking they're worshiping this evil god who's actually the other guy. You'll find him in the Vatican. Jupiter representing Satan or the flesh. Saturn representing the spirit, and Aquarius and Capricorn. Aquarius representing South America, North America represented by Capricorn, the head, that goat head. And then you have this fish thing going on, right? He's the fisher king. He's the Dogon, the fish man. And then he's the fisherman goat. They leave that part of it out. This is really an incredible story when you talk about Aquarius and Capricorn. And I'm hoping they institute the proper type of rule here, putting the people in power. But to do that, we see a lot of this transformation going on right now with this Pluto, Saturn, Mars, all in Sagittarius. It's all about philosophy and ideology. It's all about the people. It's all about the mutable cross. It's about finishing the work on the mutable cross to prepare the world age of being on the fixed cross. We're moving from mutable to fixed, ruled by Saturn, ruled by Balaam. All things are put under him. The guiding light has been Aldebaran. That has been the guiding light for these ages that we've been in. It started here. It always starts on the fixed cross. Before that, it was Regulus. And the moon is conjunct Regulus right now, in the same position she was last August when she eclipsed the sun. So she's just kind of empowering herself there today. Let's see what she is at, 89%, and coming into a full moon right at the 30th, 99%. So let's take her to 100. Whoops. Right there. So she will be full on the 31st in Virgo. The completion, the fulfillment. And then we've seen what happens on the 1st. The moon will also be aspecting as full across from the sun over in Pisces on this day. Just ramping up that mutable cross with Venus, Uranus, Mercury, the sun, Saturn, Pluto. I mean, everybody's there but Neptune and Jupiter. And Jupiter's freaking retrograde, which is a good thing. I know people say it's bad, but it's not, because it gives you a chance to think outside of the box. And this is exalted air. This is a Venus's house, the Most High, the hidden wisdom of the heavens, that great occult knowledge. Do think outside of the box in the most grandiose terms you can possibly imagine. That's what this needs to be used for. He's your belief system. He's your flesh. Jupiter rules space. Saturn rules time. Their time and location. He marks the location. The location currently in exalted air. The Most High. Cardinal. Let's Let's back it up. Stay on today. That Mercury, back it up, back it up, back it up. Mercury, have you gone and got off your stuff off of your, I gotta put it on the shelf stuff? That's what we need to be doing, especially where communications are concerned. Have you put off phone calls? Have you put off taking care of business? If you're going to sign a contract, sign one you should have signed before, but you put off. Now that would be a great time to sign a contract, one that you avoided. Mercury retrograde, time to deal with those things we've avoided doing. Go back and do it. Always a good thing to keep an eye on the days before Mercury goes retrograde, because that's the days he's going back retrograde into. You're going back over the days. It's almost like doing hopscotch backwards. It can be a little tricky, especially if you can't remember the pattern. You must remember the pattern. The most significant thing today is that Uranus conjunct Venus, the Moon conjunct Regulus, and swiftly moving upon us, the Mars conjunct Saturn, which is going to ramp it all up. I mean, it's going to be thick. So get ready for the rhetoric, the propaganda. The media and the news are going to take clear advantage of this Mercury retrograde, it being combust of the Sun, conjunct Mars, conjunct the Moon, everything going to be on that mutable cross here in a couple of days when the Moon moves over there. So buckle up for that one. This is just going to be a tough month. It's not going to stop until Mercury, peg in a little Mercury here, literally gets the hell out of Pisces. We're going to have this problem. How long? Oh my goodness. Let's watch him leave. And that's Cetus part of Aries, but the 15th of May, that's how long we're going to have a Mercury problem, because he's debilitated in Pisces. At least he won't be retrograde that whole time, but he's still debilitated. And then he's moving into the lower house of Aries, which is Cetus, the sheepfold. He's going to come over here and give the sheepfold a voice. Oh, and he's rising as well. So that's interesting. He's coming out of the lower house as well. He'll conjunct the Moon on the 15th and Uranus. Whoa. What positions the Moon? That looks like a coming into a day moon. Yeah, that coming into that new beginning. But that's next month. We'll take a look at that when we get there. Just trying to stay a few steps ahead, which is almost impossible to do in a Mercury retrograde. I always said Michael Jackson wasn't doing the moonwalk. The Moon does not retrograde, but Mercury does. Everybody does, but the Moon, which was funny to watch him go backwards. At 8:25 this morning, Pacific time, the Moon was perfectly conjunct Regulus at 99%. And you all know what that means. It was in the position of the eclipse last year, and it is also the star of confusion. Please keep that in mind. And when I say that, I hope it doesn't deter you people who are born Leos. Because, my God, we're all born in confusion. We literally are. But it is so far, it deals more with the spiritual world. Let's talk about Leo. Let's talk about Leo. Leo's on the fire wheel. Okay, his color's gold or yellow. On that, and he's ruled by the sun. And it's confusion. You are blinded by the light. On that other wheel, you have, on the same wheel, you have Mars over here, screaming war, 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 war. He's the great blacksmiths come out of this age. They venerate Vulcan, the god of fire. He's the fire in the mountain that puts out the molten lava, and you smelt tools for war. That's what Aries is about. It's a very fiery nature. Color gold. They love gold. And then you have ruled by Mars. And then you have Sagittarius, the philosopher. He's exactly opposite of the reactive Mars going to war. Here Jupiter's passive. He's the great thinker. Now you have Mars in Jupiter's house. That retaliation ideology. And he needs to think here instead of act. He rules the previous sign of Scorpio. Very passionate. It's the make love sign, not war. The other aspect of Mars. But here, it's about taking control of your actions. Thinking about it instead of reacting. Because if you do react here, you've got war on one part of that fire wheel and you've got confusion on the other. They rule a positive, a negative, and a neutral. It's like a battery. You have the positive side, the negative side, and then the neutral that divides the two. And between Mars and Jupiter is the Sun. And because right now, we're in the age of Pisces. In the age of Aries, he would have been the positive sign. The Sun would have been the negative sign. Aries, Saturn is debilitated here. A lot of people want to say that Saturn is the god of the Jews. This is the Jews. They came out of Egypt into here. If you want to call them Jews, they were Hebrews. Jews just really one tribe, Judea, which is the tribe of the sun. Judah, the lion. Confusion. But he works with Saturn and Mars. And when they came out here into fire, this made this sign positive. They switch depending on who's rising in the spring equinox. The spring equinox is the throne. When you see Aquarius rising in the spring, when you will see the man in heaven sit upon his throne. In Arabic, all these stars are the lucky stars of the king, the lucky stars of the tent, the lucky stars of the slaughter. It's luck, 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 luck. You got to have good luck. You got to be in the right place at the right time. Saturn, Jupiter in Capricorn. And X marks the spot. We've been told all this as children. And when you remember all these little nursery rhymes, Sesame Street's just incredible to me. They're even bringing back Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Right? They're bringing it back into the theaters. Schoolhouse Rock, The Electric Company. Do y'all remember those shows? These are the types of shows that our children need to be watching. But they're programming them for a different future than us. That's why we have generational gaps. The powers that be. And right now, on this planet, the powers that be are damn rogue. All of them. All of them. Because they all come from after the flood, out of the ages of confusion. And we're finally being able to walk into knowing. And that gives you a peace of mind. When you have a peace of mind, you're free. You can have a P-I-E-C-E or a P-E-A-C-E. It's peace. You get your piece of the pie. Which piece of the pie do you want? We've all been given our natal charts, which is our piece of the pie. But everybody wants to have their cake and eat it too. And truly you can, if you take your own cake. Your circle is your cake. Isn't that funny? We have a birthday cake. It's usually round and it's got all these candles on it. all these stars. You hear what I just said? All these candles on our birthday cake. That's funny because Balaam, the lamb, told us that we should weep when someone is born and celebrate when they leave this world because of the age that we're in, this age of Pisces, this mutable age. But we have to have it. We have to have it to get to him. We came out of Egypt into the fire. And then I guess the age of Pisces was a welcome change from the age of war. Because here that water did bring grace. It brought hope, but it also brought great deception and the misleading of the flock. They've been fleecing us through all three of these ages. That's all the sheep have been. It's been fleeced, fleeced, and fleeced. And they just keep passing the same dogma off and keep us all over here blinded by the light and in confusion. But all that's coming to an end. And the deal is not that you know, but what you do about it. The mottos, let's do it for all my new ones. The age of Taurus was in Egypt, and its motto is, I will. It is about the will. That's why they call these people bullheaded. They have a strong will. Then we moved into the age of I am in fire. Pisces is the age of I believe. Funny, I will and I am is William. William. I-W-I-L-L-I-M. William. This is where this name comes from. They're telling you the name Charles, it's charlatan. It comes from Charlemagne. He's a charlatan. They're telling you they've been deceptors. They're wearing the mask. They're playing Saturn when they're really Mars and Jupiter. And that's why they vilify Isis, they vilify Lucifer, and they control Mercury, which was forbidden. He rules mutable earth. In the statue of Nebuchadnezzar is the ages that we live in. Babylon, he ruled Babylon. Here's Babylon. His symbol was the lion. It was taken over by silver, which were the two arms. Here's silver. And then it got bronze. Mercury here with Venus. This is the age of bronze. They were one age. You have to mix two metals. And then iron, the legs of iron, represented by Mars here. But it had feet of miry clay. Water, earth on the mutable cross. She's miry clay, mutable earth, ruled by Mercury, and he's exalted here. And they should have never mixed the mutable earth with the iron. And then the statue of confusion comes down by the stone from heaven. Pig Latin, take the S, throw it to the end. It's the tones, the frequencies, because everything flips. The sun will change before he moves into Aquarius. The sun venerates whatever sign he enters in the spring. He's not his own. He's just a vessel. Just like the moon is the sun's vessel. The moon has no light of her own. She's reflecting the light of the sun. She has no light. It's his light. The moon is like the cursor for the sun. When the moon eclipses the sun, that's the sun pointing at himself. And he done it here. In confusion. His own house, his own star. And it's all part of what's coming. That these planets moving through here tell the greatest tales. It's the greatest story that's never been told. when I was growing up, my grandmother was always telling me all this superstitious hocus pocus nonsense. And I learned that I had to know it for a reason, because it's encoded messages that the builders left for us, the masters, actually Mercury left for us back here. 1 is for sorrow, 2 is for joy, 3 is a letter, 4 is a boy, 5 is for silver, 6 is for gold, but 7 is for the story that has yet to be told. And we are coming fast upon that story. When we came out of confusion after the flood, we have one age, 2 age, 3 age, 4 age, the 5th age from the flood, since this confusion began. I call it Babylon 5. Babylon 5 is the story of this star right here, Sheraton, running Babylon 5. And it's the last Babylon station. It was their last great hope ruling the age of Pisces. And I don't know how many of you watched that series or remember the end of it, how it all ended, and how they lost one Babylon station that resurrected itself in time. All of that very encoded. The telepaths were very important to the change that happened on Babylon 5. They start throwing down on the telepaths, those with the abilities they force into service to serve them. Very interesting story. All of the great sci-fi adventures are just rewrites and redescripts of the same thing that's being told in the heavens. We've talked about Capricorn being part of the story of Star Wars, where Anakin comes into the temple of the Jedi and slaughters the younglings, the kids. He kills the kids. It's all a play on words, talking about Capricorn and what goes on here in this age, or what happened in the past. It was the overthrow, the toohoo-boohoo, and it was Jupiter doing the overthrowing here. And, we're shown that's the good side of Jupiter. But this is Jupiter writing stories about himself. When you talk about this age, you have to dig into ancient text and knowledge to get a different point of view, because all publishing material has been manipulated by the powers that be, and those are Piscean powers, and they share their power with Mars. Each age has its own ruling color, its own ruling continent, its own ruling people. And when we move into these ages are North and South America, starting with South America. And in my personal opinion, based on the linguistics and what I understand, Lima, Peru is the next Rome. It is the house of Thalum. It's the house of the man rising in the sun on the spring equinox. When you talk about 9/11, let's go to 3/11. Let's back up here to March the 11th. And I've told you how they venerate things. When things happen on one side in the fall, here when we get around Halloween time, they celebrate, they build these fires, old traditions, and they would celebrate Beltane. But Beltane is actually over here in Taurus. One group celebrates it at night in the fall, and the other group celebrates it in the day in the spring. But it's all about Taurus. It's all about Orion, is what it's about. It's about Orion. And that's what they're venerating. So everything has two sides. So when you talk about 9/11, that happened over here. Actually, 9/11 happened in Leo, not Virgo. People are very confused about that. Let's do that. How this got to this, I don't know. One more. Let's even take us to the right place. Let's go to Manhattan. All right, so we're in the right place. Let's get us at the right time. It happened like 8:15 that morning, 8:20, somewhere in that area. So I'm putting it at 17. The sun is in Leo. It's in confusion. And the two towers came down. A lot of people tell you you're in Virgo. No, you're not. You're in confusion. Mercury, commerce, exalted. In the center deacon, the middle deacon, the exalted deacon of Virgo. Mars, currently where he is now. It was an ideological reaction. Right? There was no reaction. For 3 days, they wouldn't even let a plane fly in the sky. It was shock. Uranus, transformation in the sign of government. Saturn in Venus's house. The moon in the Freemasons' temple. Sun pillar, moon pillar, ladder going up, and she's at 42%. Jupiter, what is the belief system? The mutable, changing heavens. Venus, the heart in Leo as well. But here's what's the funny thing about it. It's not this day. It's the day that's opposite this day. So let's back up to the opposite this day, which is 3/11. In 3/11, the moon was in Virgo, opposite the sun. Now here's what's funny about 3/11. The sun is in Aquarius on 3/11. On 3/12, it's in Pisces. It's in the last day. They're venerating the last day, or the first day of Aquarius. They're venerating the first day of Aquarius. When Aquarius moves from 3/11 to 3/22, they give us 9/11. We've got 4/11. They even use 5/11. They're hiding the 3/11 from us. You have to look at the opposite of everything, even your own charts. Your opposite side. We wield all of these energies within us as a whole. But this is what went on here. It was never about 9/11. It's about 3/11 and Uranus in Capricorn. It never is about Halloween. It's about Orion. It's venerating Orion at night. You put on the mask. There's so much we can learn here. I think we should go over and over and over this 9/11 chart. First thing I noticed right off the bat was I know the powers that be, Freemasonry, used the Picatrix. There's no doubt in my mind. They just use a much older version of it that came straight out of the Arabic. And they do it using the power of fixed earth. That's what they rule. The builders come from here. What are they building? The information that came from here. That age. I noticed a lot of the terminology in the media right now keeps using this word, the world. The world. They don't say earth. They're saying the world again. And that's pointing to an age. So to me, 9/11, bringing down the two towers, which are the sun and the moon, are here. The sun is Aries and the moon is Pisces. Fire, water. Bringing down those two to making these two one. The builders are doing everything right, but the media, and those that are in control of information, they're controlling Mercury. They're controlling the information. That's the miry clay in the toes of this statue of Nebuchadnezzar that's coming down. Why is it coming down? Because they used Mercury. He's the media. He's information. He's logic. He's commerce. They made money off of it. But that's okay, because the truth is coming. The church is being set up and told Baphomet, Satan, Saturn, Satan. They've got the Islam cutting off the head of the goat. Think about what they did. Here it was about the fatted calf. Here they slaughtered the sheep. Here we eat fish on Friday. You eat the fish. And here it's about the man and the goat man. So they're setting Islam up to destroy the goat. And Islam is Asia and is Vulcan, the god of fire. But they also have a water ritual. Islam has a water ritual. They will not pray or eat. They'll go a month without taking a bath, but they're going to wash their hands and their face daily, all the time. They're obsessive about it. They can't, it's like the Jews. You can't touch the book until you're cleansed. So they wash their face and their hands. Forget about the rest of the filth and the inside filth, as long as your hands and your face are cleaned with water. Everybody has a water ritual in this age. You're baptized, you're sprinkled, you're christened, you're dunked. Well, in this age to come, it's all about air. The word out of the Greek is pneumatic. P-N-E-U-M-A-T-I-C. No, it's P-N-U-E. Sorry. Mercury retrograde, inverting letters. I do that all the time. I'll say things ass backwards during the Mercury retrograde. I imagine a lot of us do. And then your words tie into each other. You'll slam words together. So, there's Nebuchadnezzar statue. I don't even know how we have talked about everything here. Boy, this is a Mercury retrograde. Maybe it's the best way to channel this energy. Let's go back to today. Let's channel some more of this Mercurian energy. Because I think the best thing going on right now, especially with this transformation, is Venus being there exalted. So take advantage of that while you can. There's mercy here right now from the heart of it all. But that's going to fade in a few days. You've got a few more days of mercy. And then she's going to leave, and Mars is going to conjunct Saturn. The moon will be full over here, just empowering the hell out of all that's going on the mutable cross as it is. All right. That's my Mercury retrograde review for this week. And again, those of you with charts, hang on. I'm getting them done when I find the time. I do have to sleep, and I have had massive problems with finding any quiet time right now. When it gets loud around here, my dog starts barking. Those of you who have gotten charts see what I'm going through. It's been pause after pause after pause. To where I just can't seem to get caught up in a head, and I really don't expect to as long as Mercury's retrograde. Once he starts going forward, even over the shadow period, I'm not so concerned. Things will smooth out for me anyway as we move this mutable age being moved through the mutable cross. All right.